Alright, so this is the second video series about our conversation activity plans, and today I am going to work on working environment and professional life. So let's get going. The terminal objective, as always, we are going to have some, let's say, argumentative discussions with our students. We will ask a set of questions similar to the reality of the IELTS speaking tests, and the students are expected to provide arguments in their answers, and they are expected to present, first of all, clearly their field of work and their expertise. For example, I am a doctor and I have a PhD of, for example, gynecology or, for example, pediatrics. They have to talk about their professional backgrounds. For example, they have worked for 10 years in hospital, so they have to state their previous professional experiences they have had. So state their type of work. The next thing that they are expected to talk about is their type of work. So if they are working on a full-time basis or on a part-time basis, or if they're a freelancer means they do not work on a full-time basis in one company with one employer. Instead, they are working in different places, and probably they are earning money by accomplishing projects, by doing projects for different employers. There are other examples. For example, we may have telecommuting. Nowadays, in grace of internet technology, people are allowed to work online. So this is another mode of, let's say, today's world of profession. We have some advantages and disadvantages. Our students are expected to talk about positives and negatives of their job. For example, the payment is good in case of a doctor. However, there may be some inconveniences regarding the stressful environment or, let's say, lethal mistakes that you could make. Under normal circumstances, people's mistakes are not really that much serious, but when it comes to a doctor who is practicing in the field of medicine, their mistakes are lethal. So people's lives depend on them. So this is one of those disadvantages. Having a high level of responsibility is a kind of disadvantage. Students are expected to talk about advantages and disadvantages in their professional life. They may also be asked about responsibilities. What are their responsibilities? They may be asked to talk about the reasons behind their choice, why they have chosen this particular field. So these are our terminal objectives. How to achieve these terminal objectives? Since we are following a notional functional syllabus, we are going to put in place a set of functions. So perfect tenses are normally used for talking about professional backgrounds and achievements. For example, I have worked at X hospital for around 10 years, so it is my professional background. For achievements, for example, I have obtained my TTC 6 years ago at Apprenticeship Institute. Whenever you earn a degree, whenever you earn a qualification, normally you are expected to speak with it present perfect tense about that kind of achievement. To be going to is another verb tense, or let's say a kind of mode, which is used for talking about future changes. If you're going to have a kind of job promotion, definitely this is the verb tense you have to go for. For example, I have been working as an engineer for about 10 years, but soon I am going to be promoted. I am going to become a senior engineer, a senior manager in my own division. So for promotions, for changes in our future career life, we will use to be going to. Normally we have descriptive language for the professional life, whatever is related to our present professional circumstances. I am a doctor, I am an engineer, my work is interesting. So interesting is an adjective, it's a predicative adjective. To be is one of those copular verbs you can use for descriptive languages. Whenever you talk about your job, your position, your responsibilities, you can use descriptive language. Gerunds are also used for responsibilities. For example, I'm in charge of whatever I say after of is in ing form, so it's a gerund. I'm in charge of correcting papers. I'm in charge of helping students do their research. I'm in charge of working with parents. So after some expressions, you have to use gerunds, and this is really common in career life whenever you talk about your job. We have topic related vocabulary, so holiday, entitlements. Basically, these are your rights of being absent in your workplace, not being present. For example, we have maternity leave. It is the case when people are having a baby. Educational leave is the case when people decide to leave their work in favor of educating themselves for pursuing their studies for a master's level, for example, in order to earn a kind of expertise, a kind of knowledge which is required in order to get a promotion, or let's say having a better professional prospect in their future life. And sabbatical, normally, I think it is an American expression. So sickness leave is another expression. It is for resting when people have some health issues, they need to rest, or they need to consult with a doctor in order to improve their overall health. So they go on a sabbatical. The next title is modes of job. So we have part-time, full-time, freelance, and telecommuting. So these are different modes of job. We have payment types. So revenue, income, salary, these are different sorts of earnings. If you work as a full-time employee, then you are going to have a salary at the end of each month. If you work on projects, probably weekly you will be paid, so it's your wage. Income is normally for investing money, for example, people who put their money into stock market. And revenue, I think it's for large companies. For example, Google, we say the Google Corporation earns more than billions of dollars of revenue in a year. So it's a kind of yearly calculation of a large firm and the amount of money they earn. We have some useful expressions. For example, whatever we use with over. If you say I am overworked, it means you are working more than normal. If you say I have a let's say overload, it means you are having a lot of responsibilities. Or for example, you say being overworked and underpaid. What this means basically is that you are having a lot of responsibilities, you have to work overtime. It means more than 8 hours, a full-time basis type of work. You have to stay at work even after 5. You have to overwork, but you are underpaid. You do not get enough money in line with the number of responsibilities and the amount of time and effort you put in your job. So you're overworked and underpaid. Or get along with someone means to have a good relationship with someone. So basically you need to have supportive colleagues, you need to be let's say helpful, and therefore you could be considered a colleague with who people could get along with. So having a good relationship with your colleagues. The contrary of this expression is get along like cats and dogs with other persons. So having a kind of bad relationship, not being able to cooperate, is just being like cats and dogs with other people. So this is quite the contrary of getting along well with someone. We have two expressions, blue colors, white colors. These are very useful, very topic related, very I think advanced level. So try to teach them to your students. Blue colors are normally a kind of physically demanding professions, such as, for example, building, masonry, or plumbing. So these types of professions are really manual type of labor. So people need to use their hands a lot, and probably they are physically demanding. On the other hand, we have white collars. So white collars are normally employees who have an office work. They work in an office. Probably they have a high level of education. For example, they're lawyers, accountants. Office locations, just for the sake of improving your students' knowledge, have a kind of sweeping mention of these four concepts. Breakout area is a place where people go to eat their lunch, for example, during their 30-minute break time they have in their working hours, especially full-time employees. We have a smoking lounge. Under normal circumstances, people are not allowed to smoke in, let's say, their workplace. So there are places called the smoking lounge, which is just for smokers to go there and smoke their cigarettes. Otherwise, they are not allowed to smoke in their office. Restroom is another word for WC, toilet. So just for their knowledge. Conference room is normally the place where employees, colleagues, and board of directors get together in order to talk, discuss their problems, their issues, and decide about their future strategies. Now, with this prior knowledge, let's go to the actual conversation activity planning. So what happens before the beginning of the class and what happens throughout the class. So before beginning our class, we have some series of videos. As always, we ask our students to have a look at them. For example, the first one is a really useful video reach in terms of topic related vocabulary, work related lexical resources. The second one is a real IELTS speaking test, task 1, a set of questions and sample answers. Very useful, especially for those people who are going to take their IELTS tests soon. This is absolutely a must because more than 90% of the students who participate in IELTS tests are normally asked work-related questions. This is a very common topic in actual IELTS tests, so this is absolutely a must. We have comprehensive video, a kind of 2 hour long video, especially for those people who have enough time. It has all about work, vocabulary, how to use them, how to use perfect tenses, how to use descriptive language to talk about present situation, actual situation of our job, our career, and how we can use to be going to in order to indicate our future goals in our professional prospect. For warm-up, at the beginning of our class, we will basically provide them worksheets. In our worksheets, we will give them some lexical resources, some type of topic-related vocabulary, and we will either ask our students to give definitions or examples. The first part, the first column, is a kind of expressions which require students to write examples of. We will talk about payment types, and we will discuss different sorts of payments, salary, income. We have seen that. Modes of work, the same things. We have seen that, white collars, blue collars. We will ask our students to give examples of professions which are under the category of white collars or blue collars. Leave of absence. Leave of absence means having a day off. Examples of day off. We have seen them all. And definitions. We will ask our students to define promotion. So whenever you improve your career, improve your situation in your job, then you get a promotion. Pay rise is normally accompanied with a promotion, so an increase in your salary, your income, whatever. On-the-job training is normally when you require some extra training. So at the beginning of the employment, the employer is providing you some on-the-job training. They teach you the necessary skills. Hands-on experience is the case when people earn their experience by actually doing that type of profession instead of having a university degree. So this is the reason why many employers now they seek for people with hands-on experience, because simply those people who graduate from university do not have enough experience to do high quality job which is required by employers. Probationary work is normally when you start working for an employer before signing an official contract. An employer is going to have some cooperation with you in order to get to know you better, in order to make sure if you are going to fit in that position. So it is called probationary work. So appraisal is the type of form that normally an employer fills about their newly employed staff. And appraisals are filled with direct managers and sent to the CEO, sent to the general managers of the organization. The conversation activity throughout the class after, let's say, discovering new words and new vocabulary from worksheets, normally we start asking questions. So these are basically a set of simple questions. Are you working or studying? I can say more than 90% of students are asked this question. Are you working or studying? What is your current position? You may be asked about your responsibilities, your future professional goals, your likes and dislikes in your work, the advantages and disadvantages of, for example, telecommuting, or how important money is in your profession. Or, for example, sometimes you may be asked about job satisfaction and how it is going to be influenced by money. So this is far from being comprehensive, and I always add some detailed worksheets, let's say a set of questions in the comment section below. So feel free to copy them, use them whenever you like. You can use them in your IELTS classes. You can bring them to your students and ask them. In terms of assessment, as always, we have 3 sorts of assessment during the education of our students. We do not give feedback in the middle of their speech. We let them finish. So we do not interrupt our students. We let them finish. And once they have finished, we start providing our feedback. Feedback should be student specific. So this is called learner centered. So the feedback that we provide to a student may be quite different from another one, because the weakness of a student may be the strengths of the other one, and vice versa. So we are not supposed to give the same feedback to all students. So feedback should be a student specific. We focus on enabling objectives. So in order to achieve our let's say, terminal objectives, we will ask our students to focus on enabling objectives. We will ask them to use perfect tenses whenever they're talking about the past. We will ask them to use to be going to about their future educational or professional goals, and we will ask them to use descriptive language in order to describe their actual professions or responsibilities. In terms of tips, well, we do not prescribe. Our work is not prescriptive because basically the majority of our IS students are competent enough. They do not make mistakes, or even if they make mistakes, these are just very rare. So we try to provide some feedback, we try to provide some suggestions, so we give them better alternatives. At the end of the class, we will ask our students to do some assignments for the next session. Basically, we have 2 minute task 2 cue card speaking samples. We will give them some topics for task 2 cue cards, and they will be expected to record their voice for 2 minutes and send them to our exam controllers, and they will give feedback in order to improve their overall performance. So that's it. That's all about working environment and professional life. I hope you have enjoyed. For the next video, we will focus on traveling.